All right, so who am I speaking with?
Hey, I'm Chris Condayan. I'm the manager of public outreach for the American Society for Microbiology.
So, Chris, what I was intrigued by when we were talking earlier, you were telling me that you have this whole series of podcasts you're doing for sort of communications outreach, and explain like why you're doing it, how you've done it, and what it means to your organization.
We work. Microbiology is a science, of course, and since the 1980s, science reporting, science journalism has been in a decline. In fact, in 1980, there's about 120 science bureaus. Now there's about 12 left in the United States, with maybe the New York Times being the number one that covers hard science. So we started podcasting as a way to kind of get our own message out, do an end run around the media, and we started in early 2005, around March, with like a daily 1 minute, 90-second podcast called Microworld. And since then, it's developed into a web video program called Microworld Video. And then we have offshoots this week in virology, this week in parasitism, Meet the Scientist with Carl Zimmer from the New York Times.
And and Spanish language. So now that you've done this, like, if you can think, what has changed with your society prior to 2005 and now? How has it been different?
So we were the first scientific society, or nonprofit really, because we're a nonprofit status, to actually have a podcast and to delve into this world. And the end results have been some surprising ones. One, a lot of our content is being used at schools and universities and high schools, middle schools even, as supplementary material for their class. And this is helpful to us because that gets the name of our organization out to a younger audience, and ideally we want them to become members. We also have had our content licensed by the Discovery Channel, which has been great, and we've had several sponsorship deals.
So somebody else who may be in the same situation that you are, and just, hey, nobody knows who I am, what would be your recommendation to sort of getting up and running and sort of increase that awareness for this sort of small community that you speak to?
So there's lots of methods to do it. I mean, podcasting is just one of them, but there's basically two key elements that cross all social media boundaries in terms of promoting your organization or yourself or your brand or what have you, and that's consistency and being persistent. So if you start a podcast, you start a blog, start a Twitter feed, whatever it may be, if you don't get a lot of followers or feedback in 3 months, you can't quit. You got to do these things sometimes for a year and a half, up to 2 years before they catch on. There's a lot of noise out there, and if you got to cut through that noise by creating more content and content that is valuable and relevant to your listenership, readership, viewership, what have you.